for joining. As Amir said, we'll record the session for those who are not able to attend right now live, so that they can also watch the session. So I think we can get started with this group and move into the presentation for today.
Let me share my slide deck. Okay.
So today we're meeting as part of the MuleSoft Meetup series in this session specifically for HLS use cases. And my name is Greg. I'm a customer success manager here in Zurich, and will be moderating the first portion of today's session. So as mentioned, this is part of the APIForce virtual edition. This session, as already mentioned, it will focus on HLS, and going forward on a monthly basis, we aim to present industry-specific use cases. The next one will be retail in January, and then we actually have an APIForce physical meeting in March of 2023. So along with Andreas, Mihail, and Amir, we organize these sessions and bring the use cases and customers to share their stories with or on MuleSoft with you. So keep in mind, here are some training and certification resources. This session today will not really go into enablement, as we'll strictly be talking about the use cases, and there will be no hands-on tutorials. It'll be more of a demo from Amir's side. And if you need any help, you can use these resources that are linked here. And just quick guidelines for today. Any have, please put them in the chat so that Heinz can answer them. Maybe even Amir can answer a few. And then the remaining questions we'll get back to if we don't get to them. The recording of this session will be shared on the Meetup page and on the YouTube channel. And this is just a starting point for more industry-specific meetups and real-world examples. So with that, I'll hand over to Heinz and Amir to present the topics for today.
Thanks a lot, Greg. So Heinz, let's do a quick introduction about you, and then we can kick it off.
Yeah, sure. So hi, everybody. My name is Heinz Kohlweg. I'm an account executive based here in Zurich, Switzerland, and I'm responsible for the healthcare and life science customers here in Switzerland.
And I can add that Heinz is not just an account executive, he is also an HLS expert. So the content you will see today, the use cases, has been built together in collaboration with Heinz and are based on real customer examples. So just I want to add to Heinz's person.
So, okay, let's jump in two of typical use cases that we see in the industry. So the first use case is patient admission. So typical, you got to the hospital and the hospital receives a lot of data, and that has to be done. Let's jump in to the first use case. Mm-hmm. So meeting Julie. So Julie is an assistant and trainee at Open Hospital for all kinds of surgeries. So she's managing all new admissions of patients in Open Hospital system. And new admissions are sent in Excel or PDF via email, which she needs to maintain in the OS manually. So yes. Let's go. So sorry, Amir.
Yeah, just want to add here. So the OHS system is just a simulation of a hospital system, so it's open source. You can download it. We are going to also share the content later on with you. But this system is like, it does not provide any interface where you can integrate it with API. So that's why Julie in this case has to really enter the data from these various systems or various documents into the open hospital system. And we have selected this open hospital system because it was very near to the systems we have seen here in the hospitals in Switzerland, also from the layout, and looked like that was the reason why we selected it.
what is Julie doing? So she is receiving from different doctors PDFs, X-ray pictures per mail, and then she has to put it in the open hospital system, or she get information from other hospital via Excel, and she has to do it also manually. So from here, I can have a personal experience that I had months ago. So I have to go to the hospital to do an X-ray. So I go on the website from the hospital, I fill out the form. After 1 week, I get back a mail, not an email, a mail was filled with pages that I have filled out by hand. So, and then I mailed them back. So, and this is a job what Julie is doing on a regular basis, so on a daily basis.
So you have scanned the document which you received and then send it back to the hospital, or?
No, I have really sent it via mail, really mail, not scanned. So I have really fill it out by hand and
Okay.
send it back to the hospital. So Julie has to open the mail, the real mail, and put everything what I put in hand to the system. Or probably she scanned it in the hospital and then put it in the system.
Okay. Thanks.
So typical routine from Julie. So she's receiving emails, calls, whatever. She downloads the attachments. Is it an Excel or a PDF? Then she has to put it in by hand in this open system. So this is what she's doing the whole day, and this is really time consuming for her. So, and of course, there can be a lot of errors. So the errors can be she is doing it not right. So it's really time consuming, what I said. It's really less reliable. And to be honest, it's not always accurate on that.
That's true. If Julie is just a human, like every one of us. So if she is in a good mood today, she may be performing good, but if she has a tough day, it might be, as you said, not accurate. And especially when we are talking about patients' data, this can become very critical. If you are entering, for instance, you need to get operated on a left knee and you are entering the right knee. So this is also a risk which is there. So exactly, and we have tried to automate this process. Actually, the way we approached it for automation was really, first of all, understanding the system, the open hospital system in our case, and really see if there are any interfaces available. Interfaces in terms of APIs or any kind of backend services we could consume. There are databases in the background, so most potentially you could use those in a headless approach via API, but the risk is there that you will break the application as the application is handling all the indexes. So that was the only reason why we have used here in our case RPA to fully automate the process. And the way we have approached it is very similar how Julie is processing this data. So every morning the bot is running unattended. So whenever an email comes in, email will be scanned, the attachment will be downloaded and opened, and based on what the attachments are. So if it's a mass or mass admission of multiple patients, then it's most probably in Excel. So you iterate per line on the Excel and put in all the patients you have in the Excel into the open hospital system and register, or it's a PDF which Heinz explained where he has to send out the mail, and then he got the registration to his admission to the hospital. So this is then most probably a single admission we are talking about. So with RPA, this was a perfect scenario because we are able to unlock the system by automating this repetitive work, which is definitely faster than which a human would do. It's resilient, repeatable, and of course accurate. So the data which is coming in from various formats is read and processed into the system. So it's reliable. And that's what we are going to see now in the demo. Yeah, so let's directly jump in this case into the demo. And for the demo environment, I will switch into my EC2 instance. Please confirm that you are able to see this RPA process. Heinz, can you see it? Maybe you can confirm.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way we have built the process is basically it starts with the first step, which is reading an email, and the email can be everything. So, and we will guide you through the process. So behind each of these activities, you can see we have put a set of actions, UI-based actions, or back-end actions, which, for instance, create a connection to an email account, download the attachment into a dedicated folder, and then selects if it was a Excel or a PDF, and based on this, a parameter will be set, which will then control the flow here, on which path the flow will be further executed. After this, the open hospital system is opened. So it's a simple 4 steps where we are opening it, connecting to the database, and then we have the UI ready. And then we have set a parameter, which is then validated here. So if it's a PDF, it will go here more into a OCR reading approach, where we are connecting to the AWS text tract and using OCR to get all the different information from the PDF extracted and further process it in the system. And the moment it is done, we continue and close. And if it's an Excel file, then instead of the OCR, we are creating an Excel session, which you can see here, and iterating through the Excel session, what is the case here, what are the patients need to be admitted, and then putting it one by one into the system itself and bring the data in. And once all the steps are done, we close the process. So basically, that's what we have used for automation. In order to process it, we need, of course, emails which need to be received. We have already prepared here too, so I will be putting them into unread. So here's the data. You can see simple 10 lines of patient's data with few informations here on the patient itself. So these need to be registered. And what I will be doing, I've downloaded this Excel file and attached it to an email. So I will be setting it to unread. So whenever this information is received, it will be processed through RPA in our case. So let me just hit here on the play button. So the RPA bot will go into the Excel path and continue and process all the sheets or the data which is in the Excel sheets line by line and put it into the system. So let's hit the run button, and we can see it will read the email. So you will see it will disappear. So it will become red, not red, but the bot has read it. Let's see. So it's now connecting. Here you can see it has become red, and now I can close it. It will open the hospital system, and you saw already from the activity, it is now going into the activity of reading the Excel file. So the moment the open hospital system is launched, it will start entering the data into the system. So now you can see it's launched. We have connected to the backend service. Now new patients are entered. This will happen really line by line. And as you can see, this is a really traditional UI, which is also not easy to enter data manually. It's really a very heavy one. You have many fields here on the form, so you need to do it really step by step. And also there is not something where you can do a mass upload of patients' data. It's also something where we have automation, which is helping and helping to increase the efficiency of the assistant and just process the data manually. So now this will happen for 4, 5, I think 10 lines in total. And once this is done, we will see how long it took and how the other pass with the PDF will be read. The PDF is a bit different because now we have an iteration here where we are reading based on the number of lines in the Excel file and then processing the data, while as the PDF is just one execution, we are reading the PDF, extracting the data from the PDF, and then further process it. So I think we are very close to complete the job. So it's quite stable. Yeah. So as you can see, the objects are recognized. And also here, when you use RPA for such kind of application, you can be sure that it won't change so often. Yeah? So even there are updates, it's not really changing the UI itself because this is a major application, a major release, which is being used for a while. While as on web application, if you would use it, you have the danger that maybe they can change because new requirements are there to adapt. And now you can see it has completed the Excel processing. So it will close everything and this data is now fed in, and it took round about 3 to 4 minutes. You can see here for processing all the 10 patients into the system. And now we will continue and see what is the other format we are going to process. And in this example, we have a medical examiner report where this patient is going to be entered. There is findings, so it's a post-mortem. We will be registering as a patient's admission where this data is read. And you can see also the quality is not really very good from the font itself, but still we will be able to process it. So let's mark it as unread, and now we will hit the run button again. It will be only one processing, and it will also take longer because the Excel could quickly be loaded. But here we are talking about the PDF itself, the whole PDF document where we need to extract information out. And this is based upon OCR text extract from AWS. However, this takes time and we need to then get the data using JSON and further process it. So let's wait here until this step is done. So in the moment it is done, it will continue to basically do the same what we have seen. It will open the OH application and continue with the processing of the data. So you can see it's now opening, connecting again to the database in the backend. And now it should come up with the UI. So UI is there. So it should now click on admission patient and then register this new patient, which is Martin, I think, Martin something. So it should now enter the first name and the second name and the rest of the information in the notes of the postmortem. So you can see it is entering the data, the address, age, city, and now all the information, date of birth, date of death, cause of death, and so on. So it's entered their damage, what was it, and then pressed OK. And after this, it is closing and saving the data. So that was the very first use case which we have been building here. And it is a purely RPA-based use case. Here, RPA is the best fit you can go for. The next use case is more appealing. It's not only for the hospital system. It may be impacting every industry, but we have taken it for the HLS sector. So Heinz will give us a few information about it, and then we will see how we are going to process and automate it. So it's about inventory management. Heinz, take it away.
Yes, absolutely. So now we are more in the life science industry. So we're meeting Martin. Martin is a biotechnologist at a pharma and R&D company. He developed products and services for pharma industries based on the research. And he's also in charge of inventory of material used to build new pharmaceutical products. As Armi already mentioned, that could be also a head of logistic and purchasing who has the same problems.
Yes, and this actually also we have just hired the company. It's a real use case which was presented to us, and we have built it. So this is actually we are going to present it to you. Yeah, so let's see what Heinz does.
Yeah, so what is Martin doing? So it's not his normal thing that he has to do, but when he needs new material, he has to log into an SAP system or to a Microsoft Dynamics system, whatever, to an ERP system. And then he has to check the stock if it's available or not. If it's not available, he has to do an order. For that, he needs an approval from his manager. So he will send him an email, say, hey, I need this, this, and this. Please approve. After the approval, he will purchase the order. The order will be released, and he gets information that it's confirmed that he will get the material. He has to do it everything to his job, and of course his job is not doing order stuff, his job doing something else. So it could be also here that he makes some mistakes. It's of course really time consuming for him, so he told us, really, it's a real example. He told us, hey, I need more than 2 hours a day to doing like that, and it's really annoying for him. So let's see how we can do that with automation.
So we have approached it a bit differently. So first of all, fully automated with RPA again, where now RPA will be doing the job. So it will be triggered. You will pass a material number, what need to be checked, and if it's not on stock, then be ordered. So it will follow exactly the same process which has been followed by Martin. It will log into SAP, check the stock overview for a specific material. If there is something which need to be ordered, it will create an email and ask for approval. Once this is sent out, somebody will go into the RPA manager system, press on approval. It will continue to purchase the order, create the purchase order in SAP, release the order, and send the order information via email back. Of course, again, same benefits like we had in the example of the patient's admission. It's faster, more resilient, repeatable, and accurate. And of course, it is fully automated. So it's appealing the same way where the process looks like the same way we have implemented it in MuleSoft RPA. The only difference this time is we have interaction with a human. So the whole process is automated. You have seen it. All these blue activities and boxes are there and representing the automated processes. You will realize that there is also one white box. This is a manual task, a user task, we call it in MuleSoft RP. And you can use these user tasks always when you want to pause the bot execution on a specific place and where you want somebody to review data before continuing, and this person has to then actively say, okay, reviewed, yes, you can continue, or cancel and reject. So then the bot will not further process, and then once this is approved, it will then really do the purchase order, entering and get the release code, execute the release, and confirm via email. So this is what we are going to see, and it will take around about 3 minutes. We are just talking about one material. I think here Martin had invested around about 20 minutes because you had to fill out different fields and check different conditions and so on. So this is where RPA has reduced a lot of time. And let's see it in a live demo, how this is perceived. Again, I will go now into my environment and change to the inventory process, which will be represented very soon. So here you can see it's loaded, and now we have all these different phases. We will look into it. First of all, to SAP simple one, we are using the web session to connect to SAP using the NetWeaver business client, and then entering the data to log in and go to the initial state. And once this is done, we are continuing with the first MMBE transaction, which is then checking on stock by checking the stock for a specific material we have here. It will perform the transaction and then check if there is enough material. In our case, in any case, we will continue, we will order it, but you could define here a condition if there are a specific amount of on stock for this material, then it should go the path to ask for confirmation to purchase the order and then continue. So this is this white box, which you can see here is, I cannot click, it's just a step where the bot will then pause and wait for the approval, which is then really manual activity to get approved. And once this is done, it will go into the create purchase order, where you can see all the different steps where we have to enter all the different information in different tabs in SAP. Yes, it's also something which can take some time to build and as well to execute. Once we have created the purchase order, by default it's blocked. You have to get the release code and you have to execute and release the purchase order and download the PDF and send it via email to a specific account. So this is what we are going to see now. And in terms of emails, we will be watching this box, this inbox to see if there are emails coming in. So let me press here the start button. So it will hit. First of all, it will log in, of course, to SAP. And this is done via web session. So NetWeaver business client we are using here. And you can basically use any SAP UI. You can go with the sub GUI util if necessary, and then automate it in the same manner. The way I have done it, if the execution of the screens, the sequence is the same, I think you can use the same script, the same process to run on a SAP GUI util. Because it looks exactly the same. So now I'm in the stock overview, the material number will be entered, the transaction will be executed, and now you can see there are two plants. So plant 1 is 1,000 and plant 2 is 3,000. You can see there are specific stock available for these plants. Still, we want to get an email, so we will receive an email, and this is just where the bot now pause for a second. I have not any parameters, so this is also something you can define to say, okay, if the bot will continue if a human will enter additional data, provide the data which need to be further processed, and I should receive here now the email. Dear Amir, we have checked the stock, which is currently on stock with a specific number, so total number. Please reply with order to order additional pieces. So I will not reply with order. As we are here in the user task, I will press OK. So I'm OK. The bot can continue to order the rest. So it will now continue to create the purchase order in SAP. So it will enter the ME21N. Now it will go in here, select the vendor, the org data, enter the business group, sales org, and so on, and then enter the material data. It can take a bit of time because we have to see on which tab we are. So then we switch to the right tab, and now entering the data, the correct one for vendor and purchase org. Company code is entered, and now we are going into the material. The items we are ordering 10 additional pieces or 100 additional pieces. Purchase order is saved. You can see there on the bottom there's the number. of the purchase order. This will now be used to release the purchase order. First of all, we need to get the release code in order to filter by the release code. In our case, it is FR. We have seen it, and now it will continue with the ME28 to filter exactly for this FR release code. So it will open it and look for FR release code to be sure. And once it has it, it puts it in and further process it. So first of all, it will download now the attachment because this is a confirmation email which need to be sent, of course, to the user who has approved it. Now you can see it was there, it has overwritten it. So it goes back and save and release. And now the process is done. And at the end, I should now have received another email. So let me see here, it has closed it. And there is another email where the purchase order was successfully. But here we see exactly the number of the purchase order here on the top, which has been processed. So this is the way we have solved the inventory management in SAP. So now let's see how the solution looks like, and maybe are there different approaches to do it. So the initial approach when we think about automation, it's always let's go with RPA and do it. It might be more appealing. But MuleSoft Automation provides different capabilities to help not only a single team, but everyone who is interested to contribute towards automation and increase their productivity and efficiency. We are providing the capabilities to do more with fewer resources, improve the overall customer end user productivity, and bring in the 360 experience, not only for your customers, but also for your employees, for your partner, and make the collaboration between the different teams possible. There are maybe users who are more tied into a no-code environment. Others might be very good with APIs. Others are working with business applications. So they have different skill sets, and this is which makes MuleSoft Automation unique in the market, because we are providing these different capabilities to enable the organization to get the contribution of every team towards automation. And this is the automation suite what we have. So today we have seen it extensively here, what you can do with MuleSoft RPA. So perfect use cases are legacy systems, unstructured data where you have to read PDF systems. We have seen both the hospital legacy system, and whenever APIs might not be used, or cannot be used because they are built in a way which makes it super complex to read and transform the data. And everything you build in MuleSoft RPA can, of course, be shared in MuleSoft Composer. On the other hand, you have MuleSoft Anypoint platform, also part of the automation suite of MuleSoft, where you can connect to various systems like Oracle, MongoDB, everything with cloud, on-premise, multi-cloud, B2B, B2C. You can use the pre-built connectors and templates to unlock the data, to automate the data in the backend services. And again, everything you build can be shared into MuleSoft Composer, where finally your business users can also contribute and automate things, because they are using business apps on daily basis, but still require to process the data in a legacy environment or in SAP in a multi-cloud or hybrid constellation. Then they would be reusing what has been built on MuleSoft RPA and MuleSoft Anypoint together with all the pre-built connectors in Composer, which are having all the business apps covered, email attachment, file processing, as well as import, transform activities. All these can be supported together with RPA and Anypoint directly in MuleSoft Composer. So now you may say, Amir, okay, take on the RPA side, we have understood it. And now we see here on Anypoint there is also SAP. So why have you used RPA? Because it's one option. Yeah, of course, there is the other option to use SAP for the same thing, because Martin is doing this process manually. So he got already improvement by 60 to 70% in terms of time, where he is not really taking the execution manually on his person. Now you can do the same what we have done with APIs as well. And this is also something where I want to provoke thoughts for you. Don't go always with what you think might be possible is the easiest path, because sometimes it might be easier to look also for different approaches. In this case, it was actually easier and faster to do it with the API first automation approach. So you can see I've built the same process with AnyPoint platform, that we are passing in the material number, we are going to MMBE, ME21, ME22, and to get the release codes, and then further release it and provide the execution summary. Of course, we are not sending an email around, but I want to give you a quick demo also on it, because it changes a few things. While as the bot was running, you saw everything what the bot was doing. Here it's different and it's faster. Yeah? So you have seen the bot took round about 3 minutes. And this process, if in the demo it will also be like this, is executed, it takes round about 6 seconds, which is compared to the other one, improvement of 90% and 30 times faster. So let's see it in action, how we have built it. And therefore, I will again jump into my, this time, AnyPoint environment. And in the AnyPoint environment, what you can see is I've built different flows, subflows for these different transactions. So you can see here, I have a main transaction, which is controlled by a listener. I will be triggering this via Postman to demonstrate. It's a complete process for the inventory, where you enter a material number, then this material number is passed to this subflow MMBE, where it is checked for exactly these two plants. I think it should be 1,000 and 3,000. It's 100 and 300, but it's just a name. So in the configuration, it's really like 3,000 and 1,000. And once this is done, it returns back here the information and continues with the purchase ordering. And the purchase ordering is executed also in a subflow, getting the order number created, saving the order number here, and further using it as part of the flow and in the execution summary. So we get the release code here in the subflow ME22N. And this release code we then further use in a ME28 to release the purchase order and save it. And let's see how this process is executed. So what I need to do is here, I have it here. It's running on my local machine for the demo purpose of today. And I will just be using this material number to pass in and order the whole chain. So you won't see it will stop somewhere, because this is something I've not added. Still, there is a big difference between the processes. So let's see, this is now started, executed, and it took around about 5.4 seconds. And it is providing a summary where I can see, okay, what was the total amount on stock, what pieces are available for unrestricted use for plant 1,000 and 3,000, what is the purchase order which was created. Then this purchase order was taken by ME22N to get the release code, which is here. Release indication is blocked. You can see it's blocked here. So after we got this code, we have further processed it into the release itself. So it has become R, it has been released, and that was it. So it took all in 5 seconds. And this is what makes MuleSoft automation, as this is not just a RPA tool, it's a capability of different solution, unique in the market. And even customers who are using today RPA solutions with MuleSoft automation, they can really reduce the operational cost as well and speed up the whole process to become it more sustainable and future-proof. So let's go back now into the presentation and open up basically for questions. So that was it. Heinz, anything to add from your side?
No, thank you very much, Amir, for the live demos.
So
It's always impressive.
Thank you. So let's go into the chat and see if we have questions. Yeah, we can hear. So the first question is from Bidan. As a MuleSoft developer, do I need to download RPA Studio? So if you want to use this RPA capabilities, the RPA Studio, we call it RPA Builder, is very similar to the Anypoint Studio from the design point of view. You design everything in RPA Builder and then automate it. So therefore, yes, you need to download it. And let me quickly share few additional informations here, which might be relevant. So this is basically what is on the technical architecture side. So you are familiar, you are a MuleSoft developer, so you know Studio, you know here the Anypoint platform, sorry for the formats here, and you know the Exchange portal. These are mainly the components we use for automation, where you are designing things in Anypoint Studio, and in the same manner we have it in RPA. So with RPA you get a RPA builder, which is here, and a RPA recorder to build the process structure and then further automate it with the RPA builder. So you need to download this application on a Windows environment, and it is acting as a designer. So whenever you automate a process, download the process into the RPA builder environment and then save it back into RPA manager, which is like the management or control plane here. And then this is deployed into the bot farm, which can also be running on various cloud environments. Need to be a Windows environment, of course, but this is where or how you work with RPA. So you have the design part with RPA Builder, you deploy it and save it in Manager, which is our control plane for RPA. And from there, you can deploy it on various RPA bots where the process will be executed. And you can control it from both sides. So from Composer, you are able to use a RPA connector to connect basically to your RPA manager and trigger execution of RPA bots directly in the farm. And same goes from Anypoint. In the Anypoint Studio, you can download the RPA automation processes as an API. So you can see whenever I have created a RPA process and it's in RPA Manager, I can publish it into the Exchange portal. It will become available as an executable API. So this API you can then use to trigger this process on the bot farm where it will be executed, but you can put this process as part of your Anypoint flow. So it is also possible to consume it from there. Okay, so now let's go back. Hopefully this answers the question. If you have access, the next question is from Sentinel. If you have an access to RPA Manager, then you can download. Okay, so this is just a answer. What is the next question? Megesh, can MuleSoft RPA be used on bulk data and how will it perform in terms of efficiency? I can still see the PPT. Okay, so so this can be used on bulk data. So we have seen a simple example with Excel where I had just 10 lines, but you can use it either directly in RPA, or what also could be possible is if you say you want to extract this data from a system, from a database. So what you could do is you can build an API using Anypoint, make it available in Composer, and from Composer you get basically this list of the result of the API call, and then you can use it in a for each loop in Composer to trigger the RPA process. And let me see if I have an example available, because then I can quickly show it to you what I mean here. Let me enter here my Composer name. So, unfortunately, I cannot log in because my system just restarted on my mobile and I have MFA activated. So actually, the way it's working, it's really you can combine these capabilities with any point with Composer and with RPA to build your own flow and flavor. So the last question is from Jaya. Is OCR capable of reading Chinese, Japanese, or maybe any language characters? That's a good question. I have to admit I cannot answer. So I think TextRect is able to do it, but let me quickly confirm it. TextRect languages. So there is support for various languages. Let's see here. So we have English, German, French, Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese with AWS TextRect. It's able to read it. For the embedded OCR, I'm not sure. I have to clarify it, and then I will put it in the post summary of the event when we upload the PowerPoint. So there's another question from Megish. But what if there is a legacy system with no APIs exposed where I want to migrate to a newer system, and the legacy system contains 100+ record? Yes, you could probably use it. I would still try to find an interface to do it headless. This is always the first priority, and even there are no APIs available. Maybe there is the DB available, which I can just use to query the data. And let's say if there is nothing available, of course, you can always go and process the data with RPA, which will be kind of a very long run, especially with 100K records. You have to really read it out of the system and then further process it. So, hi, Joey. So the next question is from Joey. Does the MuleSoft Composer for Salesforce already have the API sharing feature, the feature that allows to access endpoint APIs? Last time I checked, so I checked also yesterday, it's not yet available, but it's on our roadmap, Joey. So I think it will be available soon. All right. So are there any additional questions? No, I think that's it. So thanks everyone for your time, for your participation. Heinz, any summary, anything you want to add? And I think Greg is anyway gone. Oh, here is he.
He's still here.
He is still here. Okay, so I will pass back to Greg to finally close up.
Cool. Thanks, Amir. Thanks, Heinz, for presenting. And thank you, Amir, for walking us through the demos. And thank you, everyone, for joining. And if you have any further questions, then feel free to reach out to us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.